Hello, this is the Wednesday update, and this is the first time we're gonna see my husband. We've been really talking about how the last couple weeks and even today has been quite a roller coaster. So as you know, I was hospitalized, and I think one of the things that got me there is sometimes I push myself too hard to celebrate, to do energy, eat food that maybe I shouldn't be eating. So I think that was one of the things that put me there. While we were there, I also found out I have colitis in addition to cancer. So I think that was causing me some severe pain. During that time, it really did look like I was going downhill fast. And then I went into the hospital. Not fun. While I was there, I was on IVs with lots and lots of medication. We came up with a plan. And then when I came home, I'm not gonna lie, some of you saw the post that I wrote. It was a very harsh transition from going to IVs to back to no IVs. I was very nauseated for 24, 48 hours while my body was trying to readjust. But now that it's readjusted and we have a plan, I actually feel like I'm on the up and up. And so that's why when we were talking about, well, I might not be able to communicate, you might have to communicate with Jason, and sometimes that might still happen. But today I'm actually feeling the best that I have in quite a while. I don't know if you want to give your perspective or
okay,
what it's like or what else we've been talking about.
Sure, right. So she sounds good, she looks good, and all that. And one of the challenges of this last 7 months has been the roller coaster ride of she'll be at a plateau and then she'll have a sudden drop and you think, oh no, it's really bad. And we've had a couple of occasions where people have told us, start getting your affairs in order and all that, only to have Jenny kind of recover, perk up, but it's just a new plateau. And she might be at that new plateau for a while. And that kind of becomes the new normal for us. And we kind of adjust and we carry on. I kind of get the impression that last week was part of a significant crash. And right now we've kind of adjusted, fixed things, and possibly trying to be optimistic without being illogical, possibly at a plateau for a little while. Mm-hmm. That doesn't mean Jenny's out of the woods. We're still looking at, what's going to happen in the near future, but it's not imminent like it kind of seemed like it was last week. Having said that, I think that if we stressed you too much, we'd be back where we were last week. So trying to be calm, because the new normal is a lot calmer, a lot slower paced.
So basically, a lot of times when people would visit, I would try to be up, I would try to eat things that maybe other people can eat, and it's really not the best for me. So I found a lot of progress. My appetite is still low. My diet is applesauce and oatmeal. Try not to be jealous for right now. So yeah, in some aspects I'm declining. You can also see the oxygen, but I'm also, because of the oxygen, because of the diet, because I went to the hospital, because we changed some meds, all of a sudden I'm feeling a lot better than I have in weeks and maybe even a month or two. And so we've actually been talking about maybe pausing FMLA and bringing in a caregiver when my husband's gone, so there's still somebody here, because that's something that hospice doesn't really do very well or talk about very much. I feel like sometimes hospice made me sicker or contributed to the sickness because of the opioids. Some of my pain was just laying in hospital beds, and once I got out of those, I really don't have a lot of pain, and I don't need any of the morphine or anything.
Well, we do run into this unique scenario where so many people, if they ever go to hospice, it's after they've exhausted all possible options, and maybe they're there on that service for only a week or two or a month. You've been on it now for 7 months, almost. Yeah, actually 7 months now. And there's just a whole lot of things that are different about someone who's being cared by a hospice team long-term versus the more typical 1 to 2 weeks to 1 to 2 months. So I'm not going to say that they necessarily did something bad, but I think they kept treating symptoms that they may have been causing with the medications, not realizing that, well, she's still here.
Right.
So,
I mean, I'm very thankful for them and their services. I can't imagine going through this without them. But at the same time, I feel like not just hospice, but doctors also need to think outside the box more. Like maybe when back in November, my cough went away, did I really need to continue the opioids for a while? Or could I have gotten off of them? Could they have talked about managing more with diet rather than just medication? Although, to be honest, to cure me, I do need both. I'm on quite a bowel regimen, so.
Well, and just to be clear, there's no cure for the cancer.
Right.
It's how do we deal with all of the things that are related or caused by the medication to try to alleviate some of the difficulty with cancer. So it's not that we're out of the woods. Obviously, having switched or started using oxygen full time is a step in the direction of. And if you were sitting next to Jenny like I am, you could hear quite clearly breathing's hard. So we're not sitting here saying, oh, pie in the sky, everything's great, we fixed her. No, but go ahead.
And we did have a CT in the hospital that did say things are expanding and growing.
Yeah.
But, Jimmy Carter was on hospice for like 2 years. So our biggest concern is how can we be financially stable for our family so that when things actually really, really take a turn, we're not screwed.
Yeah, the big one there is I took a leave of absence from work at the end of May under the federal, what is that?
FMLA.
FMLA. I can't remember what FMLA stands with. Basically, a federal law about employees taking a leave of absence that guarantees they still have a job when they return. Fun detail about FMLA, you get a maximum of 12 weeks in a calendar year where you can apply for that and be able to use that. Today marks the beginning of my 5th week of doing that. And to be perfectly honest, it seems as if I was here taking care of Jenny for a month, managing her medication symptoms and not the cancer issues. And if we can address the medication issues, I can kind of get back to work for a little while and extend how long I have that leave available to me, because it would be really kind of problematic if I use up all my leave. And I don't mean to drive you into the ground, babe, but if you're still here at the end of that leave, we have a big problem.
Me too.
So I'm going to be trying to make arrangements to return to work in a limited capacity next week so that we don't blow through our entire available time off to make sure we're all good. when this is
And
done.
we also did find a possible good caregiver for the time when he's gone. So it's not like, oh, he's gone, I'm gonna be left alone. No.
And props to my employer. I've already been in touch with them, and they were perfectly willing to have me return with a modified leave so that I could take time off only when I need it, as opposed to being off all the time. And I can return to work with the schedule I had before, which was actually working half days at the facility, drive home at lunch, and then work half days in the afternoon. I still managed to get all of my stuff done that way, thank goodness. So our need of a caregiver is still minimal, thankfully, and we can modify that, but we would have that option to modify it versus spending all of that leave time up front and then being stuck at the end. So that's where we are with that.
Yeah, and if you have an elderly patient or you're going through this or whatever, you might have a primary caregiver, but there might be a time where you hire a different caregiver because maybe he needs to go to work, right, and make the money, and having another caregiver actually will save us money and time down the road. And there are certain agencies, I guess Starbright, I don't know if that's everywhere, just in Illinois. I did see in the hospital, it's like care.com, and that was something my social worker talked about. And I was just lucky enough, I have a friend who has a friend who's done caregiving. So I was just lucky. It just everything's kind of falling in place when it should. So the good news is, if you listened or watched or read my post last week, it seemed dismal. I said, oh, we're planning for the downhill. But then after being in the hospital and kind of recovering from that, I feel the best that I have in quite a while. But it's a new normal, I feel best because I'm on a medication regime. I'm on oxygen, but I'm actually sleeping less, more awake, and
All right.
That's it.
Yep.
So if you have any questions or comments, please keep responding on social media, but you can contact either me or Jason. Just know that contact, we get it all, but there might be some times, especially during my day, I am busy. I know it doesn't seem like it, but there's taking my medications, doing medical things. I may or may not get tired. So generally I respond in about 24 hours or so, but we do like all the support that you give us, and we will try to get back to you when we can.
Okay. Is that it?
That's it.
That's it. All right. So bye.